Hi there, this is episode 18 of the Czech Next Wave podcast from the Czech Centres Network and Radio Prague International. My name is Ian Willoughby. My guest this time is top Czech actress Martha Issová. Martha played the female lead in Zátopek, a biopic of running legend Emil Zátopek that premiered in August and is one of the Czech Republic's biggest films of recent years. She's also known for many other screen roles and is a member of the hugely popular theatre company Dejvické divadlo. Martha Issová discusses those things and so much more in this episode of Czech Next Wave. Your mother, Lenka Tarmarová, is an actress. Your dad, Moris Issa, is a director. What kind of childhood did you have? Were you always on TV or film sets or hanging around at theatres?
We had a great childhood, I have to say. It was full of culture and we always talked about books, about theater. But when I was a kid, my dad, because he came in the 60s to study directing, he studied at the Film Academy or Academy of Film Arts, which had a very, very good name at the time because it was a time of new age cinema, new wave cinema. And his professor was Elmar Klos, who just got the Oscar for, I don't know the title in English, but it was the first Czechoslovakian Oscar. It was, we call it Obchod na Korze. The shop on the high street, I think it's called. Shop on the high street, yes, shop on the high street. So, and he came in these beautiful times, but then a Russian invasion came in 1968, and after that he was very good student, and he got the student's Oscar for his film, which he made at the school. But then, everything stopped. And he was kicked off the Republic. So he started to work because that was the only possibility to stay here. So he started to work as a translator on the Syrian embassy because my father is Syrian. So when I was a kid, he didn't work as a director. He worked on the embassy. He made a work he didn't like very much, but he took me to the cinema all the time. So that was it. I was not on the set, but I was at the cinema every week. We watched films a lot.
How was it for you growing up in a Czech Syrian household? Was there much Syrian influence, like traditions or anything like that?
I have to say I am from the Christian Syrian family. So maybe the culture is very similar to the European culture. My family, they were really the modern intellectuals. So they were all very erudite. All of them, they were engineers, architects, doctors. My father was the only artist in the whole family. The way of life was very, very similar, but it was because Syria was under the French influence very much. So it was more like South France or Greece or this spirit. And for me, of course, because I grew up in the communist era, so for me, holidays in Syria, it was really something amazing because it was completely different world. It was all open. There were cafes everywhere, people on streets, everything. To me, it was like this world in Syria was very colorful, and Czechoslovakia in that times, it was very grey.
Obviously, Syrians have suffered terribly in the last decade. How have your family been affected?
I have some connection still because the family lives around all world. I have a family in USA, in Germany, in England, in France. But my father's brother, my uncle, one of them, he still lives in Damascus. And I think they are trying to do their best to fight against the sad situation. I cannot imagine how difficult it have to be to live under this horrible, horrible situation. But, people are strong, so you have to go through it somehow. But I have to say that I have a very, very big pain in my heart for this beautiful country, because I cannot imagine how long it will take to renovate it, and especially the mood or the soul of the country. It will take many years, I think, and it's very sad.
Tell us about your beginnings as an actress, and when did you first get the feeling that you wanted to be a professional actress?
This feeling was connected very much to my mom, because she was the part of the theater group Ypsilon, Studio Ypsilon, which was the very small theater, but very famous one in the 80s. It wasn't classical theater. It was very progressive and unique. And it was a combination of music, of text. Also, the design of the theater or of the performances was very interesting. And it was a very small theater with, I don't know, maybe 120 seats or something like that. And the group in the theater, group of actors, was very small too, but it was like a family. And my mom took me there, of course. And I remember it clearly. I was 4 years old, and I saw a very difficult performance of Matěj Poctivý. It's Klima. It's a surrealistic text. And I was 4 years old. I didn't have a clue what it's all about, but I had the feeling that the people who watch the performance are very happy, and the people who play the performance are happy too. So this happiness somehow came into me. And I think it was that moment when I decided to be an actress, because I felt I'm happy there and I wanted more and more and more.
Typically, how do you approach a role? Do you like to think a lot about your character's motivation and background and so on? Or are you the kind of actor who just goes by the script?
I think I'm somewhere in the middle. I think when you think too much, it's not very good to me, or for me to think too much. But I have to know something. So the system, my system, because everyone is different and everyone needs different things to prepare. But I need to, let's say, read or talk about it, read the script many times. I have to know the script very, very well, because usually when you shoot one scene from the beginning and then the other one from the end of the film. So you have to know, or I have to know, where I am, what happened before, what happened after. So I have to read the script very, 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 how to say, poctivě, deeply. But then when it's before the shooting, I try to forget everything and just let these things go somehow. And just, like when I was a child and we played that we are princesses. So in that moment, I was a princess, and then my mom called me for a lunch, so I stopped it. And I try to find this feeling every time when I act some role. I love it when it takes me somewhere where I don't know where it is.
What about working with directors? Do you like directors who give you a lot of feedback, or do you prefer ones who just let you do your job?
Both, I think. Both is interesting. But for example, when I worked with David, who is my husband as well, he's the one who brought to me some new things. And because he is directing. He is really director. So he loves actors and he loves to work with them. And he's always curious about what you bring to him, but he leads you somehow through the story. And I like it very much because still you are an actor, so you see just one part of the story, your part. And sometimes you cannot see more, you cannot see it from a different view. So I like it when it not depends on how much the director leads you, but you have to know, I have to know that he knows what he's doing, or she knows what she's doing, that she or he has it in their hands. So you have to feel that you're in safe. That's the important feeling for me when I'm working.
David is, of course, David Ondřejček, son of the great cinematographer Miroslav Ondřejček. What was David's father like?
Unfortunately, I met him when he was a very old and ill man, but still the impact on me was very, very strong. I have to say that films they've done with Miloš Forman and Ivan Passer, especially the new wave cinema, Czechoslovakian new wave cinema, was really absolutely amazing. And it was really a very important part of my film knowledge. These films I have deeply in my heart. Especially, I have to say, Intimate Lighting, the film he made with Ivan Passer. For me, I think is the most important film of all times of Czech cinema. So, and it was before I met him. It was before I met David. So I was a little bit afraid. I felt shy, but he was so kind. He was such a kind man. He was one of the most kind persons I've ever met in my life. And I miss him very much. He was so open-minded. Sometimes we called him Buddha.
I have to say, Intimate Lighting is also my favorite Czech film. I guess you must have known Ivan Passer too, because he was a family friend.
Yes, I was very lucky to meet him. Him and his beautiful wife Anne. We spent 3 months in Los Angeles with David. I think it's 7 years ago or something like that. And Ivan and his wife, they used to live in Los Angeles. So we spent a lot of time together. And it's not long time ago, somebody asked me who was the most interesting person I've ever met in my life. And I think it was Ivan. He was really such a special man, an artist, and a human being. I miss these people. I read a book of his sister. His sister, she's a writer. She lives in Canada, and she wrote a few very nice books. And one of them is about their childhood during the Second World War. And I think this generation, like Miloš Forman, Mirek Ondřejček, Ivan Passer, this was a very great impact on them, the Second World War. Because they really went through a very difficult times when they were kids, teenagers. So somehow they appreciate life they got after the war. And I think they were full of energy and they wanted to do something big. And this is, I think now, we are more lazy because we live in peace and everything is fine, everything is comfortable. And this difficulties made them very strong, interesting, and unique. So, and Ivan was absolutely a part of it. And I miss him very much. And really all we talked about, I have deeply in my mind.
Proč chcela bys tam fotit?
You were one of the stars of Zátopek, which was one of the biggest films of 2021, the Czech Republic, maybe the biggest film. A lot of attention was given to Václav Novil and his transformation into a runner. But I wanted to ask you about your learning of the javelin, because you had to learn it to a reasonable standard, I guess, to play Dana Zátopková, who was an Olympic champion.
It was great. I worked almost for 2 years, I think. And when I was a kid, I used to play tennis and I love sports. I think I'm a sporty person. I love to move. I love the energy which comes from your body when you move like that. But javelin throwing is something completely different, the opposite to what I've done before. It was very difficult. It's a very special discipline. I think it's one of the hardest athletics disciplines. You have to be talented for it. You have to be gifted, because it's not only about when you're fast. You have to be strong and you have to feel. I think the most important thing for javelin throwing are legs, because all of the power have to be in your legs, and I had to found it. So I had a training, I think twice a week, and I had a javelin training and also athletic training. Bára Špotáková, who is also a winner of I don't know how many
Two gold medals.
2 gold medals from Olympic Games. She worked with me and she helped me a lot with it. I have to say, she was a very, very important person for me. Her coach, Rudolf Černý, I worked with him all these 2 years. And it was really like a trip somewhere else from my bubble, which I live in my life. So this was something completely different. But I have a new friends and it was really great. It was frustrating, of course, because I wasn't very good at it at the beginning and I had to work a lot. But Václav, he had to lose his weight and it's very visible. The transformation is very visible. I had to eat more and work on my muscles because Dana was strong and she was bigger than Emil. So that was like me and Václav. I was very strong at the time because I really worked a lot. And Václav, he was thin and he has only muscles and nothing else.
I know you spent time with Dana Zátopková, who then was very old. It seems that she generally wasn't keen on the idea of this biopic about her husband and her. How do you feel about the fact that she died before the film was finished and didn't get to see the movie Zátopek?
It's a mix of emotions for me because, of course, I feel so sorry that she passed before. And we met maybe 10 times or something like that, but we talked a lot. And she was a magic person. She was so charming and witty and strong woman. And I miss her like I miss my friend. But on the other hand, I have to say it's kind of a release because I don't know what she would have said if she would have seen it. So maybe it's good for us because I can imagine many possibilities. But I miss her so much, and she was a very special woman.
We've spoken about your co-star in the film, Václav Novil. He, like you, is a member of the theatre Dejvické divadlo, the Dejvické theatre, which is a small theatre but has amazing actors, specific humour. Everyone loves it. It's hard to get tickets For you, what makes the Dejvické divadlo theatre so special?
I have to say that when we spoke about my childhood in theater in Studio Y, the spirit of Dejvické theater is somehow very similar to the spirit of Ypsilonka in the 80s. So my dream came true somehow because this atmosphere and this kind of friendship was the reason why I wanted to do this profession. I know I am a very lucky person because I am a member of this group and I can do this work with these people who are inspiring for me and who are like a family for me, really, honestly. So I think we made some TV series together, Zkáza Dejvického divadla, and there is a topic of a spirit of Dejvické divadlo, and we really don't know what is it. But I think it's friendship and are very open to each other. So, and in a bad way as well. When we don't like something, when we don't want to do something, when we feel something, we always talk about it together in a very open way. So maybe I think this is very healthy to be honest with each other. The important thing is that we like each other, but we still like to work with each other. So it's not just a family and nice mood we have together, but we work a lot and all of us somehow try to be a better person. So all of us read, listen to music. We are trying to stay open to other cultural things and so I hope that's another reason of it.
Letters to Olga from letter number 138, July 25th.
Another project you've been involved with is Reading Havel, organized by the Czech Centres. You must get asked to do a lot of different things. Why did you agree to take part in Reading Havel?
I didn't think a second when they called me because I am really a great fan of Václav Havel. For me, he is one of the biggest persons in our history. I really admire him and his work. I miss him, and I think we miss him, and we miss such a personality, especially in these times. The only thing I was afraid of was English, because to read such a difficult text as his letters to Olga, of course, are because he was very erudite and intelligent and witty person, and he spoke with a wonderful language. So, of course, the English is not very easy for me. So I was afraid of this, but I really didn't think a second if I want to do it or not, because I think I have to do it. I have to do everything for Václav Havel, what I can.
Did you ever meet Havel?
Yes, I met him a few times, but the most important experience with him was that we really, because he made a film, Leaving. So when he prepared the film, we had some meeting because he was thinking of me for one role for this journalist, Bella. So we've met, and then we've met again. And he told me that he thinks I'm too, that he felt the journalist as a kind of a tricky person. And he told me, I think you're too open, you're too straight, and it's very visible. So I didn't get the role, but I spent 2 hours with him. We drank some slivovice and we talked a lot about life, about books, about theater, about films, and about everything about life. And I am very happy that I had the chance to have such an experience in my life.
My final question, Martha, is what have you been working on recently, or what can we look forward to seeing you in 2022?
I made a film with Alice Nellis again. This is our 5th project, and it's called Buko. It's a name of the horse. I have to say, I really loved the script. For me, it was one of the best Alice's script ever. And it's about an old lady, retired doctor, who moved with her husband to the countryside. And she has to decide if she wants to spend the rest of her life like an old lady doing nothing and do what the others expect from her, or if she takes the chance to change something and do with it. And I play the autistic person who is a neighbor of this lady, and I liked the work so much, really, and I love that role. And I hope it will be a very, very deep and nice film.
I spoke to Martha Issová, who, as you could hear, was just super nice, remotely in December 2021. Czech Next Wave, a podcast produced by the Czech Centrist Network and Radio Prague International, is aimed at introducing listeners around the world to the very best of young Czech talent. This has been episode 18, so there are, of course, loads of other ones available for your listening pleasure. Check them out wherever you get your podcasts, and do subscribe if you haven't done so already. From me, Ian Willoughby, thank you so much for listening to Czech Next Wave, and speak to you again very soon.